Water is at the heart of farming. It's essential for drinking, cleaning, cooling, and even maintain hygiene for the chickens. But here, water scarcity is a harsh reality. We've been forced to rely on trucking in water, an expensive and unsustainable solution. Every month, we tend to spend thousands of shillings on trucked water. And when you're in farming, every shilling you spend eats into your profit. Now, this means slower growth for the business and constant pressure to keep the cost in check. If you are joining us for the first time, my name is Njiguna Hilary. I'm an entrepreneur, a farmer, and I'm passionate about entrepreneurship and agribusiness in general. Now, let's get started in what is ailing our farm, or what is the biggest crisis we are facing here at our farm. Now, we have a big crisis. We have a looming crisis. And this is the crisis which can either define or break our future. And this is the crisis of water. Water is life. Without it, then there is no life. Now, the most funny thing is from the estate where I live, we possibly don't have this problem because for entire week and even for this morning when I left home, I can assure you I left water flowing freely in the taps. And it's a huge, I would say, huge surprise because staying in this locality, I have realized there are certainly two types of, well, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but then there are those people who tend to have access to clean water, and there's also, unfortunately, people who also don't have access to clean water. And for me, I would say it's quite unfortunate if you go deeper in the villages here. The deeper you go, the more you realize sometimes as an individual how lucky you are that you yourself you can have access to clean water for drinking, for home usage, and even for what you need it. But then at the same region, you'll also realize there are individuals who can literally not even access a single, and I mean a single cup of clean water. And it's such a sad state of affair because they are being forced to actually consume waters from water harvesting ponds, and these are the domes. And in most cases, this is not a safe or rather cleaning water. Now, bringing that aspect back here to the farm, you now realize it's opposite. Obviously, it's couple of few, maybe 2 or 3 kilometers from where I live. And again, we don't have access possibly to the pipes, which again, this is the difference because a couple of months ago, we used to have the access. But then these altogether changed. Uh, and some part of me sometimes wishes I was actually back in the mountains, whereby this is not an issue or this cannot be an issue. But don't get me wrong, I love this place. I like this place very much. But then when this starts to become an issue, you start to realize how limited you can be when it comes to production. And because believe the goal of Afrifama is not even to be where we are at 1200. The goal is to reach, let's say, 5K. The goal is to reach to 10K. And maybe in the future, possibly in 5 years' time, if we can do even 20K in terms of production, that can be amazing. But then you now realize this becomes a stark reminder of the odds against you, because trust me, even for a 2000 production, if you don't have a sustainable source, now that can become a nightmare. Now, if you are back at home and you're consuming clean water, I'll tell you what, don't waste that drop. For you, it might be, well, nothing. But for us and the people around us in the community, I can tell you for a fact that is the gold. On average, we need between 6,000 to 12,000 liters of water to sustain our operations on monthly basis. Now compare that to what we can make in selling our poultry. This is where the maths gets tough. Now, instead of reinvesting in the farm, much of our profits tends to go straight into covering such an expense. And for this case is the water expense. Now, to put this into perspective, dairy consumption per bird tends to average on zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 liters. So that's around 200 ml per day. And this is on week one. While on week two, they tend to average between zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.3 liters. That's around 200 to 300 ml per day. While on week three, they tend to average between 300 to 400 ml per day. And in week four, that numbers goes up to 400 to 500 ml per day. And if you keep your birds past 5 weeks, then that number tends to go to 500 to 600 ml. Now, to put this into perspective in terms of consumption, now total consumption per week, assuming you have around 1,200 birds, then you'll end up consuming between 12,000 to 14,000 liters over the entire life cycle, which ideally is between 5 to 7 weeks. Now you know how deep the issue of water crisis can be. And if someone asks me who was to blame for this kind of an issue, well, I wouldn't wish to go much into politics because, in my country, if you speak against the political class, then trust me, you become a marked person. And ultimately, this can also affect your business. But what I know is there's been a huge failure, and this has been a very persistent issue, pertinent issue within the county government where it comes to providing. And it's not just for me, it's even for the people in the villages. I can tell you for a fact, you'll always hear this, but nothing has ever been done. Unfortunately, access becomes an issue for those who have deep pockets. So, if you need more, means you have to dig deeper into your pocket to have more. And it's quite sadistic because there should be almost free access for almost every human being, not just here, but across the continent. But hey, yeah, that's a stark reminder on how issues like this can be a big, big, big problem. So, obviously, challenges like this push us to think creatively. And here is how we have been tackling the crisis at our farm. The first option have always been water harvesting. That is getting rainwater. But ultimately, this can only or has only worked for a few weeks until the rain is gone. Then ultimately, we've also been thinking of expanding the water storage capacities. This is to ensure that we invest in larger tanks to store enough water which can last through the dry months, basing the fact that rains tend to come in short bursts for few months before it disappears. So ultimately, if we had enough storage capacity, then this can be a solvable issue. And obviously, the most sustainable solution would have been to have a partnership for a dedicated water line. This is explore and see if it's possible to have a line. This is a water line at the farm, which can at least be able to deliver water, albeit few times in a week. This can ensure that the water harvesting and storage is constant and it's uninterrupted. But then these solutions aren't easy or cheap, but this is the long run. They'll save us more money, improve efficiency, and allow us to grow sustainably. Now, this is why it's so essential when we said this year in 2025, one of our goals for Afrifama is to have a sustainable water solution. And this goes beyond harvesting. This goes beyond getting in the water. This has to stretch even on the usage of the water itself, whereby we have to ensure every drop counts. Now we have come to the end of today's vlog, but before you go, there is an amazing vlog for you right here. You make sure you click it, you watch it, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, until next time, this is Afri Farmer. Bye bye.